Hey everybody, this is Sabrina from ATLYS, and today I'm going to be talking about shifting, the basics, and this applies to any shift ever. If you understand these basics and how to practice, you will never miss a shift again. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you find it interesting and want to see more videos like it, subscribe to our channel. So in this video, I'm going to be using this epic shift from our arrangement of Perect that takes us from first position to seventh position, but these principles apply to any shift. Oh, and by the way, the sheet music for Perect, our arrangement, is now available, and the link is in the description below. So go ahead and get yourself a copy, and you can practice this shift with me. So every shift has the following components: the old position and old finger, and the new position and new finger. In the case of Perect, we're starting in first position and we're going to seventh position, the new position, and our old finger is first finger on F sharp, and our new finger is third finger on G natural. So when you're practicing any shift, first determine those elements. Okay, so what you have to do is train your arm and hand and fingers to find the two positions, like this, knowing it inside and out, backwards and forwards. So what you're gonna do is with each finger, you're going to travel the distance from the old position to the new position. So starting with first finger, we're gonna go from F to E. Now, even though the shift in real life only goes in the one direction, goes up, I practice it both ways because it's like measuring a piece of fabric if you're going to sew. You should probably measure it many, many times before you cut that fabric. So that's what we're doing, going up and back, and I just slur that shift together. Next, I'm going to go from second finger to second finger, first position to seventh position. From G sharp to F sharp. And now I'm going to go from third finger to third finger. And meanwhile, every finger is coming along for the ride, right? Just because I'm shifting on third finger doesn't mean my first finger and second finger are no longer needed. The hand really works as a unit. So here we go. From A to G. Oops. And it's like this first and second finger are acting as a guide for my third finger, because I've already practiced them going from first to seventh. Now we take it one step further. So we practice first finger shifting to first finger, but then also shifting to second finger, and finally to third finger, which is our final shift from first finger to third finger. So it goes like this. Okay, so now this process can take days of really making your arm feel comfortable and familiar with the distance. So don't be alarmed if you're not just nailing it right away. I've practiced this shift many, many times. ATLYS has performed this piece hundreds of times. And so, I'm a little bit more familiar with this shift, but just be patient with it and always, remain relaxed and make that shift as smooth and easy as possible. I like to think of my fingers on the fingerboard kind of like air hockey pucks on an air hockey table where they really just glide right over. There's nowhere that it's getting stuck. There's no friction, just shifting up there. Really, really easy. Part of what makes the shift so smooth and gliding is that I make sure I'm not squeezing with my thumb on this side. You should never squeeze with your thumb, but especially when you're shifting, just make sure that you're keeping it nice and light and that the thumb is just always traveling across from your first finger. Of course, when you go past 6th position, then your thumb can't go any farther and you start to extend. But most of our shifts are in those lower positions, so keep your thumb across from first finger, and it's like one unit. They just move together. It's that simple. Another factor that can greatly affect the success of your shift is especially when shifting to a very high position like 7th position. Your arm has to come around the instrument to reach these notes. And if you don't prepare it enough, and if you just try and, you just leave everything as it is, you're gonna hit the body of the violin and get stuck. Probably gonna be flat on the shift. So you always have to prepare, even from a lower position, start to come around the instrument so that you're, partially or even all the way around, and all you have to do is zip up there. So you have to know exactly which position you're going to and how far around you have to be to get there. Now I get to decide how I want this shift to actually sound in the music and what's the musical gesture that I'm trying to make. In the case, of this particular shift, it's at the most epic part of the song, and so I want a really juicy and expressive shift. It's from such a low position to such a high position that why should I hide the shift? I'm gonna show it for everybody to see. These notes are on different bows. The F sharp is up bow, the G natural is down bow. If I want to hide the shift, which is often what we want to do, we don't want to be slurping around the instrument. If we want to hide the shift, we shift at the end of the old bow. So up bow is the first note, that's the old bow. And we shift right at the end of that bow, just kind of tucks it in there, and by the time you start the new bow, clean new note. So maybe something like this. So if I could slow it down, which I don't think I have the technology to do, you'd see that my hand moves at the end of the up bow, and by the time I'm on down bow, I've got my note. And the shift happens very late at the very end of the bow. But because that's not really what I want to do here, I want to accentuate that shift and make it very expressive. I'm going to shift on the new bow. So you can see I wait for the down bow to start, and then I shift on my third finger up the string. If I shifted on my first finger, we'd get a different sort of feeling. It would sound. That's what we call actually a French shift. And the one that I prefer for this particular situation is the Russian shift. Shifting on the new finger, and the French shift shifts on the old finger. So there's so much that goes into shifting, so many details, but they are simple principles and they apply across the board. So I hope this video was informative. If you have any questions, please, please, please comment below. I love hearing your questions and your feedback. So happy practicing. Get those shifts so comfortable and familiar that you'll never miss them again.